What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Today is April 25th, 2019. And if you are listening, you're listening or watching the Marson Brothers podcast. What's going on, everybody? How are we doing?
Yo, yo, yo. Let me tell you, it's been a fantastic week. I'm currently in the Maldives. Bittersweet, though. This is the last day of my splendid time here in this fantastic island country off the coast of the southern tip of India. I'm in the Indian Ocean, if you don't see. Let's take a
Go
look
ahead.
back
Go
here.
ahead. Give us the little panoramic. Give us the 360.
Panoramic. There we go. Got a little, I'm right on the water. Hey, if you're going to be in the Maldives, you might as well go all out and get on that water.
Hey, give us the tour,
But
man. While you're there, give us a tour. Come on.
I mean, I could just give a little tour of the backyard area. The wifey is still resting and taking in all the amenities and the time she can here. Right now, local in the Maldives, it's about 7:18 in the morning. I know it's kind of dark where you guys are, but we're just now waking up. And I have to say, this has been quite the experience. Quite the experience. Um, for those of you who don't really have the opportunity to take time off, I will say this. I think it's important to try to find a way to do just that and try to find a way to just take a break from whatever it is that you're doing on a day to day, just to recharge and then try to figure out what's important in life. I'm not saying you have to drop everything, spend everything, and leave the country, but I think wherever you are, there's a way to find a mini vacation and just get out for a little bit, you know. But whew,
Marvin, I can't
it's
be
been
mad at you.
fantastic.
I'm
It's
so
been
mad at you,
fantastic.
but I can't be mad at you. But I can't
Listen,
be
for
mad at you.
those of you who are just tuning into this podcast, I will
Oh,
definitely suggest go to the YouTube channel, the Marson Brothers Podcast YouTube channel, to take a view and just to check out, the views that I was able to produce for you guys. So if you hear a lot of wind in the background, it's because I am literally in the Indian Ocean where there's a current breeze that is just going through nonstop, continuously. And it's fantastic.
you know, you remind me of the situation right now.
Ah,
My situation, man. So Marvin, out of the goodness of his heart, has decided that he wants to continue on with the MBP and actually invite us into his vacation. So, what we figured that we would do real quick because he has limited time. If this podcast is about, I'm so mad at you right now, and I'm seeing all the overwater bungalows right now. I can't. You need to stop.
of
But
course.
what we decided that we would do is, and again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not able to see the actual YouTube, Marvin pretty much is posing. He is on the water. All you see is crystal clear blue skies along with crystal clear blue water. Marvin has been able to spend some time on an overwater bungalow. On the inside of his overwater bungalow, you can actually see on the bottom, and when you look down, you see actual water. Not just outside, but inside his bungalow, you can see glass and it's just straight down to the water. Marvin has a pool outside of his overwater bungalow, and let me make sure that I make this specific. It's private. So he has his own pool, he has his own staircase into the water, and he has his own overwater bungalow where he's been able to spend some time with his wife. So this episode is about what is your favorite vacation and why and what are you thinking of when you are booking this vacation? So, Marvin, why don't you just tell me about your favorite vacation? I think I now know the answer to this because we are doing this live. So, tell me a little bit about your favorite vacation. What's your favorite vacation, and what are some of the things that you've done this vacation?
Well, everybody who's tuning in, I will say that I originally reside in the greater Philadelphia area, so the suburbs of Philadelphia. And I am a resident who is in year number 2 out of 3, about to be number 3 out of 3. And I was given the opportunity to take a vacation. And, this was my one vacation that my wife and I kind of planned all year long. And so time quickly approached, and here and behold, it was time for vacation. So we just hopped on the plane and we went. So this particular vacation, we went to, it's three-tiered. We started off in India. We went
Oh my
to
gosh.
New Delhi. And we also went to Agra. And we saw, dun, da, 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 we, better than me just telling you, I gotta show you the pictures. We went to the Taj Mahal, and it was,
Oh
oh my
boy.
gosh, beautiful,
Is that one of the seven
spectacular.
wonders of the world, the Taj Mahal?
It was, and you know what? I'm not up to date anymore. I don't know if these things change or not, but that structure was phenomenal. So big, white marble, so pristine, and this is a climate that's extremely hot. But with that white marble and the way they built it, there's like air tunnels that go throughout the Taj Mahal itself. So certain places you can just stand and you can just feel that breeze hitting you and cooling you off. I, I don't know. I think it's up there with the hieroglyphs or the pyramids in Egypt. It was fantastic. And,
I
I
don't want to interrupt,
I'm
but
so glad I went there.
can you give us the view of just having the Overwater Bungalow in your background so that we see how that looks, or are you not able to do it based on how you're situated? Like, can you put your back to the bungalow so we can just see how that looks?
Of course, anything for the viewers.
Oh my gosh. You see what
Anything
he's
for the
got going
viewers.
on in the background? He's got like a cabana set up. He's got his Overwater Bungalow. You see his pool there. He gets to just sit and just watch. Okay, yeah,
Many hours were spent out here. In fact, we got floaties and we put them right in the pool. We were just looking into the ocean, the Indian Ocean, and taking it all in. And then we took some time to just go in the Indian Ocean itself. So we were in floaties in the Indian Ocean. And then I went snorkeling and I was just going in and out, enjoying, investigating, seeing what I could see. It's beautiful. But let's go back to the conversation we had before in regards to what the trip uh, entitled. So, number one, we started off in India. That was tier number one. Then we moved on to tier number two, which was moving on to the Maldives. And like I said, it's island country off the coast of India, a series of, I believe, 26-mile countries or so. Or not countries, but islands or so. And then tier number three is going to be going back to India. And then tier number four is going to Qatar, which is a country in the Middle East. And then I'm going to be flying back to the greater Philadelphia area and just capping everything off. So, things are chugging along. I am a little sad, but at the same time, I'm extremely proud of the trip that my wife is the travel guide slash travel agent for this whole trip. Hats off to her. She's the best. But I just want to be a storyteller. I just want to tell you, the adventures that we went on and what it feels to be out here. And so I say all this because just taking some time to think about what has transpired and try to take a big view of the world. What I'm coming down to is this. While here in the Maldives, the most important thing that you can strive for in this world is
oh my
LOVE.
gosh.
Love. I'm not talking about the hot Roman candle type of love. I'm talking about just the love for your fellow human being. Because here in
Oh,
the Maldives, this is like a little cultural melting pot. And because of this
I can't
wonderful
take this guy
resort,
serious.
hey, yo, because of this wonderful resort, you're looking at people from all different aspects of the world. You know, people from the US of A. I'm going to be mixing continents
Oh,
and countries, and I don't
jeez.
care.
Oh,
We're talking about people from India, from Asia, Australia,
it's
Africa. They're all here. And guess what?
you do know
They are
India is in Asia,
enjoying
right?
each other. Well, like I said, I'm going to be mixing countries and continents, and I don't even care. You know why? Because I'm on vacation.
Yes, you are.
But, you know, at the end of the day, people are all here enjoying. They don't speak the same languages, but guess what? They're able to communicate. You know why? Because of LOVE. Just the other day, I was in the pool. It was like an infinity pool over at the headquarters of the resort.
I see how you just
Of the
mentioned. Oh,
resort.
I was in an infinity pool. You just laid that out there. Just tried to slide it in. By the way, well,
Those
continue.
of you who don't know what an infinity pool is, just think of it as one of these things, but endless on a grander scheme. Anyways, and this gentleman was with his family, and I saw this weird slash awesome looking mask. It was a onesie mask for your face, so you can see, but it was a snorkel. It was a mask snorkel. I don't know what it was called. It was out of this world. It was fantastic. And so I was like, "Excuse me, sir, can I take a look? Like, what is that?" The guy was French, spoke pure French, did not know one word that I was saying, but we kind of connected there. Same with the wife. And they're like, you know, try it on, try it. I was like, really? I just wanted to look at it. And they're like, try it. Again, this is in their language. I don't know how to say try it. And
Are you
I
sure
put
that's
it
what they were
on.
saying? How do you know that they weren't
Yeah.
wanting to be slingers or something, swingers or something like that? By the way.
Get out of here. Get out of here. This is a family, mother,
Hmm?
father with their child.
Okay.
The guy took the mask off his face and he put it on my face and he said, try it. So I went and I swam a little bit with this, I'm just going to call it a onesie snorkeling mask with the breathing tube. And it was pretty cool. So it was like you just stick it on and then you just go swimming and you just breathe and you can breathe in the water. It was pretty cool. But that's just a little example of, you know, I don't know who that person is. They don't know who I am. They literally come from Europe. I'm from the US of A, but we're connecting. We're in paradise. Why not? LOVE. That is the most important thing. When it all is said and done, that, my friend, is what it's all about.
I
And
gotta say, Marvin, you're looking very youthful right now. You are looking very calmed and relaxed. You look like you had like a facial. I think this trip has really made you younger. You are actually funny now on the podcast. You have a sense of humor. It's like
wait,
you're
wait,
not
wait.
not
What do
that
you
you're
mean,
drunk,
actually,
but
finally?
I'm not saying that you're drunk or tipsy right now because you're seriously not, but you're so carefree and you're silly right now, and I think that's what vacation does.
So I cannot stress the importance of a vacation. And, you know, I think you can find vacation wherever you are in this world. It's just a matter of taking time off from your daily routine and just taking a break. And those of you who think, I just need to muscle through all the time, year after year, day after day, I'm here to tell you, I think it's important. And just try it out. Try it out. You will be amazed and you will see the difference. So, those are my 2 cents, and that's my quick tip, maybe not so quick, of today.
So, ladies and gentlemen, again, Marvin's got his designer sunglasses on. Again, not a cloud in the sky. He's got a, a button-down shirt, but his button-down is not long sleeve, it's short sleeve, and he's just smiling and he's loving life. So I didn't tell you this, Marvin, but around the 5 minute mark to around the 10 minute mark, it looks like I lost connection with you. So you were on a soliloquy. So I apologize, audience, and I apologize, Marvin, if you mentioned this during your soliloquy. What has your favorite vacation been so far in your life, and why?
Well,
Did you
right now,
explain
hands
that?
down, it has to be my favorite vacation is one I'm currently on, and I feel like I'm probably going to be comparing my future vacations to this one until the next round knocks it off. So, like, King of the Hill, right now, this current vacation is the winner of King of the Hill. So, we'll see. But I'm sure there's going to be other great adventures here to come. And you know what? Bring it on. That's what I have to say. Bring it on.
So this is coming from a gentleman who has not only been to this extravagant vacation, but he's also spent some time in Dubai, been able to go snow skiing indoors, been able to ride on a camel, was able to try exquisite foods, and got to wear a turban, and he was just doing his thing. So tell me a little, and then what was it the Wiz Khalifa? What's the name of that building?
The bird. It's called the Burj Khalifa,
The Burj Khalifa.
and that is the tallest building in the world. But those of you who had the opportunity to go to Dubai, what I will say is do visit the Burj Khalifa, but I don't think it's worth going all the way to the top because you have to pay a premium for that. Where if you just go a couple floors underneath the top, it's much more affordable, and honestly, the views are the same. when
And when
you're
you're
when you're on a building that is like a skyscraper or two skyscrapers put together, the difference between a couple hundred feet, you can't really feel any difference. So those are
Tell me a
my
little
two
bit about the
cents.
food when you have experienced your India in the Maldives. Tell me about the food. What did you like? Did you eat the local food? Did you try, did you find Americanized places when you were there? Tell me about that.
Well, in India, I, they say if you're not from India, you need to make sure you eat hot cooked foods because uh, the Indians who are native to that country, they develop, I guess, certain set of microbes in their stomach to break things down. I don't have that. Therefore, I made sure to eat at well to do restaurants that have, they're probably a little more pricey compared to like the street foods. However, I was sure that, that food wouldn't get me sick. So I did that. But how did I find the places to eat? Well, we had a tour guide, and the tour guide was like, listen, you need to eat here, 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 or here. These are my suggestions. And I was like, you know what? You are native to this country. I will listen to what you have to say. And that's what I did. Um, but the food, it's all good, man. I'm not that much of a foodie,
And that's all I say. You're not a
but
foodie.
I'm not a foodie. But the food was delicious, and it's very important to try different foods when you go to different countries. But do listen to what the locals say when it comes to what you should try and what you shouldn't try. Um, but I don't know what to say. It's a lot of like it's a smorgasbord of different foods, but everything was delicious. Sorry, guys, I'm not a foodie, so I can't use elaborate words to express the types of foods and how it tasted and all that.
Now I know one thing and I'll tell you a little bit about what my favorite trips have been, but I remember when I went to a different country and visited, I realized one, how big of a world it is, and how small you are as an individual in that world, and that the whole world doesn't really revolve around the United States, which I think was something that was good for me to learn. And looking at customs and looking at different types of rituals, it's very similar no matter where you go. Like I remember when I went to Ireland, and it was a Monday, and they were doing Monday Night Football, but Monday Night Football was soccer, and people went to bars, people When you go to bars, it's the same things. People just sound a little different. You'll hear different dialects, you'll hear different accents, but a lot of the actions were pretty similar. It was just that I was in a different country, but I feel like humans are humans. What is your take on that from your experience in India and where you are now, and compare that to your experiences when you went to Dubai?
I mean, I definitely would agree with the sentiments and the statements that you're saying. At the end of
Thank
the
you.
day, when you get to the cultural aspect of where you're from, it's very easy to accumulate and to assimilate to that culture. And
Boy.
people at the end of the day want to feel connected and they want to have a good time. So something that I've noticed, from America versus other countries is we as Americans, we kind of take things kind of serious, like way too serious all the time. Other countries, people like to take breaks, relax, enjoy the natural aspects that that country has to offer. But at the same time, I think things are relative. So if you're in a country that doesn't have much, but you see that everybody has kind of the same amount as you, then you don't really feel all that left out. But I think it's when you come to an area that there's huge discrepancies between the haves and the have-nots, that's when you begin to realize, oh, you're not the same. And then when that is brought to the periphery, then people start to get angry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's part of what it is. But then the other aspect of it is, like, I'm assuming, and this is a huge assumption, like I'm here in the Indian Ocean, right? And this is something that, as Americans, people would probably pay a pretty penny to get here to see this. But for the Maldivians who are, this is where they live, this is normal to them. So wherever you are, there are certain things that are native and normal that you kind of probably take for granted. Whereas other people from different parts of the world will pay a pretty penny to just experience what you experience on a normal basis. So that leads me to wonder, what are some of the things in my native Philadelphia that I take for granted? However, people travel from all around the world to experience, and they'll pay somewhat of a pretty penny. I guess one thing would be, if you're a history buff and if you like American history, um, Philadelphia 76ers, for example. The reason why, do you know why they're called the 76ers?
Okay, okay, Marvin. Why are they
They're
called the
called they
76ers?
are called, listen, they are called the
Oh boy,
76ers
this guy.
because in 1776 that's when the country was founded. So there's a huge cultural history of the independence and the creation of the country in Philadelphia, and that's something that Philadelphians can take for granted because it's right there. You can walk to the Liberty Bell, you can walk to a lot of these areas for free, but people from around the country will fly, pay a pretty penny to get there to experience it on their own. So, why am I saying all this? I think
Why are you
something
saying all
to
this stuff, Marvin?
realize. Yeah, why am I saying it? I think when it comes to vacations, wherever you are, there's probably something close by that's local that you can experience for yourself without having to pay an arm and a leg if getting out is way too difficult to do. So, my challenge for you guys is to figure out whatever that is and experience it for yourself.
Marvin, what time did you wake up again? I mean, it's 7:41 right now, your time, AM. It's
Yeah.
10:41 p.m. Eastern time. And what time did you get up? Your time?
Oh, so what time did I get up? Maybe like an hour ago.
This guy, are you see, I would say that you're delirious of sleep, but you just woke up. My gosh. Well, so I guess for me, my favorite experiences of travel have been I've got a couple. I've got one of my favorite trips was after I finished pharmacy residency. That was I had about a month and a half before I had to start my new job, and I had an opportunity to do a European trip, and then I also went to Asia. So one of my co-residents. So growing up, advice that I received from cousin Phil, along with one of my fraternity brothers, Brad Burton. Shout out to you, Brad. Kappa Psi for life. Yeah, you know how it is. So
Wow.
when they told me one of the best things you could do is get to know somebody who lives in a different country because it's an opportunity to be able to hang out and be able to go somewhere for free. So my co-resident, and I, he asked, "Hey, when you're done, you can come spend, a couple of weeks with me when you're done." And I took him up on his offer. I thought he was joking, and I said, "No, I'll really go." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, really." So what we ended up doing was flew out, went to Singapore, went to Malaysia. He was from Malaysia. Then went to Malaysia, and then went to Singapore. And then one of my fraternity brothers from pharmacy school actually lived in Singapore. Shout out to Franklin Roy again, Kappa Psi for life. You know how we do. So
Wow.
he said, "Hey, if you can get down," like I posted on Facebook, "Hey, I'm in Singapore, so if you can get down here, we can hang out. We can hang out. I'll show you around. You can crash, and then it'll be good times." So I said, "Cool." So when you're in Asia and Europe, it's very cheap to be able to fly from country to country. It's like 10, $15 at least at the time that I was there. Didn't know anybody. Didn't know. I mean, everybody spoke English there, but it was, hey, here's a cab, here's the
Oh,
address.
that's a great point. Keep on going, but I want to talk about that too.
Here's a cab, here's the address. We go, we meet up with him, we hang out. It was Bastille Day in Singapore. Bastille Day is a French thing, but everybody was having fun and hanging out. Had a party, met all these people, and it was carefree. It's interesting because when you go to different countries and people find out you're American, it could be good or it can be bad. I mean, I was hanging out with really cool people, and the people that I was hanging out with, they were transplants, so everybody had a good time. We talked about different cultures and stuff. Again, people were nice, good times. Went to sleep, woke up. Like Singapore is a great place to be. Like it's a up and coming area, very big in banking. The the food, is very similar to what you would experience. It's got the Asian feel, but it is pretty Americanized as well. And the people are just very nice and friendly. So that was a lot of fun. And then after that, went to Malaysia with my co-resident. So his name is Adnan, by the way. So Adnan, if you're listening, I know you're listening to this. So shout out to you. So got a chance to hang out with him. Got to go to check out different areas. Again, Kuala Lumpur, got to hang out over there for a little bit. They have the Twin Towers. It was not as high as your Khalifa, but it was pretty cool. Got to snorkel. Again, great times, awesome. And then after that, then I went over to Europe, and we had an opportunity to go and just do the whole touristy thing on a bus. So did the whole England thing, and then after England, went to France, went to Germany, went to Prague, did the Swiss Alps, or sorry, the French Alps, Belgium. I mean, it was just good times all the way around. So definitely enjoyed that. Marvin, you may have to move the mic a little bit because it's a little windy still. But there you go. Oh, well, all right, that works for now. That works for now. So it was just good times, and I think it was also fun because of the fact of where I was in my life. I was done with residency. One of my best friends, Jordan Hinkle, again, shout out UNC Chapel Hill, class of 2008 pharmacy school. So we got to hang out after the residencies, and then I got to meet a couple of his good friends from the residency over there. So I think it was also being able to meet a bunch of people who nobody ever knew, but we all kind of came together. We hung out for a good week, 10 days, and it was one of those trips of a lifetimes. And I think for me, what I enjoyed the most was the camaraderie, like we were talking about. I think what I also enjoyed was just where I was in my life. I had no responsibilities, got to hang out, stayed out late all night, got up, go on the bus, go to the next country, sleep on the bus, get up and do it all over again. And then again, with Facebook, was able to build a lot of great memories after that. So I think all that stuff was really exciting, really fun, and one of the highlight trips that I've had. And then after that, I love cruises. So my wife and I, we try to cruise, once a year. me, it's got to be just the cruising atmosphere. When I'm on a cruise, I don't have to plan anything. You have all the food you can eat. You've got shows, the shows that you've got going on. You've got, singers. You've got theater. You got the pool. You got the porch. You got the fourth wheel where you just eat and eat and eat. Comedy clubs. So for me, I like those cruises because I don't have to think. I don't have to plan. Just the beach, and I love the burgers. I'm a big Carnival fan, so I'm all about Team Carnival. So that's what I enjoy to do. It's a lot of fun. I think it's fun when it's just my wife and I think it's fun when you're with a good group of people. We watch movies at night over on the boat, on the big screen, outside on the pool deck. So it's just all good. So those are a couple of my fun trips. Both of those trips were pretty affordable because when I was still finishing residency, I lived like a college student still, so I was on a college student budget. Well, the cruise is what's so incredible about the cruise is your lodging is included and you're being entertained on the boat. Whereas other places you may have to go on a trip, you got to pay for a hotel and then you got to pay for the attraction. Really, on a cruise, that's all in one. So those are the things that I enjoy doing. And again, it's like what you said. It's an opportunity to be able to sit back, relax, be carefree, meet some people, have a totally different identity. I think a lot of times people are different. Like Rod. Rod is he's my brother-in-law. He's one of my brothers-in-laws. He like when it's vacation Rod versus um normal Rod. Vacation Rod, Rod, I know you're listening to this. Vacation Rod is so much more fun than normal Rod. But normal Rod, you're pretty cool. So vacation Rod, for instance, is carefree. He eats whatever he wants. He wants to do. And I feel like that's how we are on vacation. So I think that's another good thing with vacation. And that's why it makes people feel so good because they're carefree. They get to do whatever they need to do. They get to have fun. It's good times. You don't have to plan, and it's all good. So I think a lot of those experiences are probably what you've experienced on your trip.
Yeah, man.
Now
For
you were
sure, for
gonna
sure,
say
for sure.
now I was talking about travel and I was talking about flying and you wanted to go back to the point that you wanted to make. So I wanted to go back to that point when I was telling you about traveling and how it was cheap and you could fly on a plane for like $10 and you're gonna interject something. So go ahead, Marvin.
Yeah. So, I do have to wrap things up. I can talk for days, but I am running out of time. But what I will say is, for those of you who are, English speaking, uh, I don't know. I feel like we kind of, for whatever reason, the stars align for us. It actually works out to our advantage because a lot of the countries or a lot of the regions, like India, for example. India is a country, but it has many different states within that country. But the different states, the people speak different languages. So the one language that I don't know how they came up with it, that they decided is universal, is the English language. And so you can go pretty much all throughout the country if it's metropolitan or city like urban, and you can find someone who understands and they speak English. And I found the same thing out here in the Maldives. And talking about with my wife, she says that that's actually pretty common. Even countries in the Middle East, uh, English is that cultural melting pot language. And so if you are naturally English speaking, you kind of lucked out, So that's another thing. If you're afraid of leaving your country, if you're English speaking and you want to go to different areas in the world, chances are you may find other people who speak your language or understand your language. And the same thing applies to words. I guess here in the Maldives, you can read things in our English manuscript, if you will, but then you also can read things in different manuscripts as well. So that's something that I also found to be very fascinating.
What was about the travel thing though? Or was that the point that you wanted to make with travel?
Yeah, that was the
The
point I wanted to
airplanes.
make with travel. Yeah. I don't know if I didn't mean to mislead anybody, but that was something that I wanted to bring to my attention or to everybody's attention as well.
So what do you got on the schedule
I didn't
today? I
know all
know
that.
yeah. So what do you got on schedule today on your last day on vacation? What are you gonna do? What are some memories you're gonna build, and what is on your to-do bucket list that I've got to make sure that you do today?
Oh wait, I did not wait till the last second to do all that. I already did my last thing to do bucket list, the pictures, the experiences, and all that. Today on our to-do list though is we're gonna go out and get some food. Then we gotta catch a local plane back to the main island, and then from that plane we gotta catch another plane to fly us back to India, the New Delhi region, and then from there we are going to do another tour of the town in India, but this time we're gonna actually go shopping because we didn't want to buy all these things and then come to the Maldives and just travel with heavy bags. So now we're gonna do a little shopping in India, and then after that we're gonna fly to Qatar, and then we're gonna spend some time with some family members of Donna's. So it'll be fantastic, and then from there we're gonna fly back to the States.
Before I forget, I wanted to ask. Now, there was a lot of concern over on the mainland for your safety because those of you who don't know, there were some I don't know if terrorist activity is the right word, but over in Sri Lanka there were some bombings of churches and m- people were very fearful and they wanted to make sure that you're okay. And then I explained to mom, I showed her the map of where you were near the Taj Mahal and where Sri Lanka was, and you're nowhere near where that is. You're like thousands of miles away. So I wanted to ask you, did you hear about any of that stuff while you were there, or is it kind of like when there's crime, in Florida, and then you're in Philadelphia, or there's crime in like Los Angeles and you are in Florida? Tell me a little bit about what the sentiments were. Were people uptight because of that news, and especially as an American, how did you feel?
I think I was shielded from all of that, to be honest with you.
So you probably didn't even know it,
Um,
it went on.
yeah, I don't know how quickly or how fast news travels from here to there. Um, but what I did find pretty interesting is there's CNN in India. I was like, really? They had like their CNN anchors for their country talking about these different things, but it's one of those things. If you're around television and you have cable, maybe you'll be caught up to speed. But I wasn't around all of that. Only when I was in the hotel lobby did I see that. So no, I was not caught up to speed, and I guess that is a difference in the states versus beyond. But I also wasn't looking to view television all that much while on this trip too. So,
No, I think that
am
makes
I
perfect sense.
concerned? Am I scared? No, I'm not. I don't see it as any different than how it is in the states as well. Um, you know, terrorism, unfortunately, I think is a new norm. With a heavy heart, I am saying that, but I can't let that slow me down to just traveling about the world. And of course, I'm going to look and choose places that are safe. But even within those safe places, I guess not everything is 100% safe. You can't 100% know for certain that everything is going to be 100% safe. So, hey, it is what it is.
Let's wrap this up because I know you got to get out of there. So, what do you want the MBPers to leave with on your part of the speech?
My spiel is this: LOVE. That's the most important thing. And again, it's not about the passion. Oh, I'm attracted to you. No, not that type of love. Just the love of the fellow being. Give love. If you give love, you're likely to receive love. And once someone experiences that, you'll realize you have more in common with random people than you think.
And
Cool.
I guess for me, what I gotta say is vacation makes Marvin very silly in a good way. So Donna, thank you for taking care of Marvin and having him come out of his shell. The more that I've been hanging out with Marvin in these last few years, Donna, you have gotten Marvin back to the Marvin I remember. So thank you, Donna, for that. And for me, some words that I'd like to leave with the MB peers. I think that with vacations, if you're able to check out different cultures, different areas of the country, different areas of the world, I think it's good because it helps reset you. You realize that the whole world isn't just about the US, which I think is a good thing. and it helps you realize that you can be so small and tiny and the world will still function. But at the same time, I think it's great because you realize how big the world is and how everybody is related with each other. So those are my 2 cents. And definitely cruise if you can, because I love cruises. I'm all about Carnival, so do that. Or maybe I'll see if I can get Carnival to sponsor the next MBP. We'll see how that goes. But that's what I want to leave with you guys with. So that being said, it is 10:57 p.m. on 4/25/19, and tomorrow I will be watching the Avengers Endgame. Lee and I had an opportunity to watch every single one of the Marvel movies from Iron Man until the Captain Marvel, and tomorrow we'll see Endgame. So we will talk about how that event went. And without further ado, I guess we're out. So Marvin, enjoy yourself. Give us a nice segue of what you're working with as we fade on out for the rest of your trip.
Enjoy the view, y'all. Enjoy the view.
All right. With that being said, we got Junior and Marvin representing Marston Brothers Squared. Christopher, we miss you. We'll see you on the next episode. And with that, Marston Brothers, we are out.
Deuces, y'all.